Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I am your host, Kevin Hubb, here for a review of the Nidecker Megalight. And this comes in three sizes, 160, 164, and 168. The camber profile on this is what Nidecker calls their free ride cam rock. You've got rocker in the nose that turns into camber right about your inserts, moves positive camber all the way through your front inserts, and then you get and then you get uplift in the nose. The flex on the Megalight starts with the nose. It is pretty dang soft, honestly. There's really not a ton of substance here, despite all that carbon. It really doesn't add any stiffness to it, and it's a pretty soft nose. Moving to underfoot, it definitely gets a little bit meatier, a little bit stiffer through the mid part of the board, and then out through the tail again, you're gonna get a little bit softer tail to it. Kind of combined with that, you've got their fancy 3D shaping going on across the waist, and this softens the board up a little bit torsionally, so it allows them to keep the board pretty stiff and supportive, tip to tail from foot to foot, but it allows for some foot steering. It's going to make it a little bit better at slower speeds or really high angle stuff to be able to foot steer the board and just keep it a little bit more agile at slower speeds or gnarlier terrain. The stability of the board is good, not great. The really soft nose, you get some flap out of it. It doesn't really quite get into your foot. It doesn't really quite make the board buckle or lose its line, but it is there. And then the tail just being a little bit softer, you don't have that ability to just throw all of your weight into the tail to save your ass out of backseat landing, or if you're just getting a little bit too looped out. But between the feet, super solid. It's really stable between the feet. It holds onto Carves really well as long as you're not throwing all of your weight out through the tail. This kind of 3D coring they got going in the core does actually work really well to allow the board to manipulate across the snow and steer through chunder and gnar, because it is still staying stable because it has a stiffer spine running through the center. So being a freeride board, a lot of times they don't really put a ton of focus into having a ton of ollie power and snap and just boost to it. And unfortunately with the Megalight, that actually comes at a detriment to the board. There's really just nothing in that tail. There's really not a lot of substance to it. Torsionally, it's okay. Snapping off edge through Carves, it's all right. It's not terrible. And I was able to get enough energy to really switch between my edges pretty dang quick or really throw hard into a carve. But it doesn't have that just straight ollie power to it. So the ollie was honestly pretty below average, and with all that carbon that sits on the tail of that thing, I really was expecting a lot more out of it, and it just kind of fell short. The softer tips on this and the camber profile does mean that you can actually butter this a little bit. Now, generally speaking, if you're looking at a board of this type, don't see you doing too much butters out there, but in POW, with the way that those tips flex and that rocker profile, the POW butters on this thing are actually pretty dang good. Other than that, not really something you're really looking to butter on. It has a lot more torsional stiffness than something you would really look for that kind of thing to do on a snowboard. So not really what I'd go for this, but it is doable. This is still a Nidecker. It's still a European brand that has spent the last however long making boards turn. So the side cut on this thing is still really dialed, and that stability you get between your feet means this thing does carve really, really well. Being a little bit softer compared to its big brother, the Ultralight, it does do those quick carves a little bit better, just snapping between edges really, really quick and just kind of using your whole lower body to do it. Because it doesn't have that crazy demanding flex that its big brother does, you can do that. So it is able to do those really short radius, really quick carves, as well as still staying really stable and powerful on those really big drawn out carves. The only thing you got to be careful of is because of where that rocker zone hits, at least on the 60 that I rode, and with that little bit softer tail flex to it, if you really throw your weight through the back of that tail, you can get it to wash out. So just try to keep your weight a little bit more centered and try not to get your center of gravity out past your back foot, and it's gonna hold on, and it actually rips carves pretty dang well. Nidecker bills this as their more budget friendly, I say that loosely because it's still a $600 board, budget friendly freeride board. So it still has some of those fancy tech, it still has the 3D coring across the middle part of the board, it still has the carbon nose and tail laminates to it, it has that 3D shaping through the core in the nose and tail, but a little bit of a little brother to to the ultralight that has that full carbon top sheet. So they market it as a free ride board still, maybe a little push towards the all mountain compared to the ultralight, so swaying a little bit more towards that easier to ride kind of rider out there, but definitely still more of that free ride category. To be completely honest, this was a bit of a letdown for me. It's still a Nidecker, so the side cut is still really good on it, and I did have a ton of fun turning on this board, but that lackluster pop really just kind of ruined it for me. I was just really expecting a lot more out of it, even just that kind of standard free ride flex pop that you get out what you put in, and it doesn't even have that. It just kind of mushes and just doesn't really have any life out of the tail. So while it is fun to carve, and honestly, it really just kind of comes across to me as you're a dentist, you ride 7 days a year, you got too much money, and you want something flashy and spendy, and you're not a super great rider, but you want something to just look like you are. Honestly, that's where this thing kind of lands for me. And if you are that dentist, maybe check out that $500 TR on Angry Snowboarder VIP. It'll make you a better snowboarder. Not better at snowboarding, but you'll be a better snowboarder for it. So in my opinion, comparable boards to the Nidecker Megalight are the Capita ESOD, or Black Snowboard of Death, the Burton Flight Attendant, and the Solomon Super 8. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, Kevin Hub, and this has been my review of the Nidecker Megalight. What did you think? Did I get it completely wrong? Has this been a board you've been riding for a number of years and you absolutely love, and you think I'm full of shit with my review of it? Leave me a comment. Let me know just how wrong or how right I am. While you're doing that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you're hitting the bell so you get notifications when we've got new projects coming out. When we got new stuff coming out and you don't know it's coming out, it doesn't do you any good. If you're new around here, or you've been around here for a while and you're looking to support us, check out Angry Snowboarder VIP. It's the best way to keep more reviews coming, more projects, and more ideas from us to you coming to you. Come back and check us in the next video.